he's up here somewhere. Oh, he's here. Yes! Yes! No way! Alright, we're back on Battlefield today, and they've just dropped the brand new map, which will be playing in the background. This is where we talk about this update a little bit. So, right after the release of that quality of life update that fixed the horrible drone bug and the tow missile or the lock guided missile bug, we've got an actual proper content update this time. So, the community post here just goes into detail a little bit of what they've done and what their plans are kind of going forward. So, we'll just jump into that while the game plays in the background here. Drop a like if you enjoy this one. Subscribe if you're new here, and let's just jump right into it. So they go on to say Battlefield 6 and Battlefield Red Sec, we launched 2 massive experiences, from support players pulling off clutch dragon revives, saves, to squads executing flawless Red Sec pushes, and creators redefining what's possible in Portal. You've shown us what Battlefield can be, so something I've not really checked out a huge amount of is the Portal experiences, but I have seen that there's been a lot of cool stuff, so maybe it might be a good idea to check that out at some point. But they basically go on to talk about, like, they are listening to community feedback, they're watching, they're reading, they're listening to everything that everyone's saying and helping to shape the experience. And through the Battlefield Labs, which is still ongoing, that was huge before the game came out. Obviously they were taking everybody's feedback and factoring it into the development of the actual game before it was released. So the update that's launched today, as of recording this, the 18th, is the California Resistance update. That's arriving November 18th, and the map that we're playing on here is Eastwood, it's called. It's the second new map of Season 1, and this one it seems like it's really goddamn good. We've also got some new weapons and a new vehicle addition as well, it's in here. So the new guns in question are the DB12 shotgun, which I remember using this in, I think it was Modern Warfare 2019, and it's like a double barrel shotgun, but it's a pump action at the same time, so I think you can shoot like twice and then you need to pump it. And then there's the M357 trait sidearm. Not sure how that's going to perform. We've already got a revolver in the game anyway. There's a new limited time mode called Sabotage, so it's a theme mode focused on demolition and counterplay. That'll be interesting to check that one out. On the new map, of course, we've got tanks, helicopters, and we can actually ride the golf cart, which I think you could do in the BR anyway, but it's nice to see that in the multiplayer now. And there's a feature coming later on in the update called Battle Pickups, so powerful weapons that will be available in specific experiences and Portal. So they've got limited ammunition but enough firepower to help you turn the tide, so I think that's similar to the stuff that was in Battlefield 4 with like the big snipers or the mega rocket launchers to help you deal with like a team that's dominating you or something. If you got one of those, then you could get the upper hand and maybe pull it back a wee bit, so that's interesting to see. I wonder what they'll be like, what kind of weapons it'll be. Definitely interesting to see that one. And along with that, there's just a huge bunch of fixes. I'll maybe pop these up on the screen here just so you can see. I'm not going to read them all out, there's absolutely tons, relating from player fixes to vehicle fixes to weapon fixes and gadget fixes, mode, map. There's just absolutely loads here. It would take an absolute day to read all that, but they talk a little bit about the casual mode that they released. So they released Casual Breakthrough on November the 1st, which I haven't actually checked out, but this is similar to what Activision did with Warzone, with the casual Warzone experience. So it's like you're playing a normal match, but you're against players as well as bots, so it's just more like chilled, more laid back, less sweaty, I guess, if you want to say that, if that's a better way of describing it. They are saying that they're planning on exploring additional maps for that rotation, but they want to keep the balance between player and bots, and they're also considering a similar mode for Conquest, which would be pretty cool, I guess. So if that's your kind of cup of tea, then definitely good news there. They talk a wee bit about the changes to the challenges that went live on November 5th, and the completion rates improving across the board, obviously, because some of them were absolute absurd. They wanted to basically make them feel achievable within a few hours of focused play, and the way it was prior, it was just a total grind fest, and it was just boring, really. It was just not fun to do, not entertaining whatsoever, and they're going to continue to monitor data there and feedback to make sure it feels right. They introduced bots into verified experiences on November 6th as well, in response to player feedback. I'm not sure who was asking for that, I don't know what that's about, to be honest, but Conquest, Breakthrough and Rush now support up to 12 bots. I don't know if it's just to get the game started quicker, rather than waiting for loads of people to join and experience. But it basically says once 8 players have joined, they can start a match because they just backfill the rest with bots, but they grant reduced XP, and I don't know, it's kind of weird. Don't really know what to think about that one. They also talk a wee bit about what we mentioned at the start with the quality of life updates, which is absolutely fantastic, but that did actually take a wee bit too long if I'm being honest. And furthermore, they talk about what's in active development at the moment. So coming with this update, we've got weapon bloom fixes, so this is absolutely excellent news. It says they've made a small tuning pass that reduces how quickly dispersion and recoil build up during sustained fire. Dispersion adjustments apply to all weapons, while most receive recoil tuning. So I think from what they're saying there, it seems like it's going to be way less intrusive, way less annoying, because some of the guns, man, you felt like you were just shooting somebody and your aim's like right on the target and you're just missing because of the blooms just sending the bullets off target, and it feels really horrible. So it'll be interesting to see what this is like with this update, see how much of a difference it actually makes. It says it's going to be more noticeable at longer ranges, because the bloom, obviously a tiny little bit of bloom at a longer range is going to affect you much more. They talk a wee bit about lighting updates, so further improvements to soldier visibility, particularly when transitioning from interior to exterior, that bloom effect that you got with the lightness coming and you just couldn't see anything, so that should be less obtrusive there. They said they're going to continue refining that as well. They're updating challenge clarity, just refining descriptions, so that's nice to see. They've added Fort Linden to Portal for more creation of community experiences, and they talk a wee bit about aim assist updates, so if you're on a controller it's just going to be a wee bit nicer, the aim assist experience, similar to how it was in the open beta, they say. And they talk a wee bit about what's coming next in December, so the Targeting the Winter Offensive update. In addition to new limited time event and new melee weapon, there's a quick peek at like what's coming with that update. So they're talking about a vehicle balance pass, saying that they've made initial tuning pass to smooth out some of the biggest balance outliers between vehicles. They don't really go into any specifics, but I'm guessing they're maybe talking about the helicopters because they just feel really weak. Now that that missile bug is fixed, that might change though, but in general I think they were feeling quite weak. They just got shot down super easy. They talk about breakthrough mode adjustments, so several maps in breakthrough have been updated to improve balance and flow. For example, they say Sector 1 in Mirak Valley now has fewer vehicles available, and the size of the capture zones have been adjusted to help the attackers make better progress. So Mirak Valley was obviously on breakthrough, yeah, it's absolute hell, so that'll be good to see how that plays out. This is part of the December update, so this isn't live yet. And they talk a wee bit about rush improvements. They've updated MCOM placements on Manhattan Bridge and Liberation Peak for smoother attack routes. And they talk a wee bit about as well what they're actively exploring and testing on, but there's no confirmation of when these will come into the game or if they'll come into the game. They talk about map design and size, so of course that's been a lot of feedback from the community, is that the size of the maps and the pacing of the maps isn't what would be typically expected from Battlefield. It's a lot more condensed, a lot more chaotic. They say Battlefield is best when maps offer different ways to play and constant action around every corner, and striking that balance is always a priority, and they remain committed to variety of maps across future seasons. So this one, Eastwood, seems a lot more classical from what I can see so far and what I've played so far, and they say they'll continue to monitor this going forward and make adjustments where necessary. They talk more about review of challenges, maybe changing the way they work in general, not much more on that. They touch a wee bit on UI and menu improvements, so looking to adjust the way things are just for making it more intuitive, because it's like a Netflix Hulu UI. I don't know why game developers are obsessed with these kind of blocky website UIs for like the past 5 years or so, it seems. Kind of weird. And they talk a wee bit about expanding player stats, including per season details and other improvements, but not any specifics on that. Talk a wee bit about social play improvements, making it easier to group up with friends and resolve issues that may prevent smooth session joining. I don't know what they mean by that, but I hope they mean being able to play in parties of greater than 4, because that was a bit of an issue on launch. Like you got more than 3 friends and screw you, I guess. Like you need to try getting it the same game, and it was just a huge pain. They talk a wee bit about hit registration and netcodes. They're investigating improvements to hit reg. This is closely tied to time to death and time to kill consistency, as well as fixing some bugs about dying behind cover. So yeah, if that's ever happened to you, I know that's a huge pain. It's pretty frustrating, so good to see they are considering working on that. But again, no timescale on that one. And then they talk a wee bit about the vehicle ecosystem. We are reviewing the overall vehicle experience to ensure balanced combat across all warfare modes and map types. So that's pretty vague, I guess, but they just wanted to make it seem more balanced, I guess. They talk a wee bit about RedSec performance improvements. So there's issues with memory and sounds of footsteps in vehicles not playing consistently. So they're optimising that. Battle Royale solo mode, they talk a wee bit about here, saying that the pacing and difficulty, so playing without a squad can feel punishing, obviously. And we want solo to remain a rewarding experience, but like, who's really going to do that if you're up against squads? That's just, I mean, that's a challenge thing, if anything. They also talk about a casual Battle Royale mode, so similar to what Warzone did. They are considering doing that, so against some players and some bots in the Battle Royale experience. And then they talk a wee bit about armor plating, watching the current action time for armor plating, but they want it to provide a meaningful tactical choice and approach that one carefully. And then they talk about exploring adjustments to tank frequency within Battle Royale as well. And that's about that for the update here. So they talk a wee bit about a couple of Portal experiences, which I might check those ones out. I don't know, how are you guys feeling about all of this? The Portal as well, are you looking to see more from Portal, or are you disappointed with it? What do you think here? Drop a comment down below how you're feeling about this update. Are you still loving Battlefield? Are you still enjoying it as much as you were on release? But that'll about do it for this one. Drop a like if you've enjoyed this one, subscribe if you're new here. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.